I love the transforming story, Daryl. It has changed my life. Tell us what you're going to cover in this next lesson. How are you going to build on that first part? What are you going to cover?
Well, the first part deals with what we might call the breadth of the story. The creation, the fall, redemption, and consummation. And most Christians understand that the Bible is a narrative from Genesis to Revelation. But a lot of Christians don't realize that the Bible also has a depth. It explains the meaning of what is true, of what is good, of what is beautiful. It establishes what we might call the metaphysical capital. Every culture, every people has a story, but not all stories lead to nations thriving. And we need to understand not only the breadth of the story, but we need to understand the depth of the story, the meaning of the story. What does it mean to be a human being? What is the nature of work? What is the nature of history? These kinds of things create a mental framework. And as Paul speaks, he speaks of the strongholds of the mind, and it is these mental strongholds that enslave and impoverish people. They don't understand that to be made in the image of God means something. And without that understanding, even Christians can give lip service to being made in the image of God, but without understanding what that means for their lives, there's no transformation. So we need to understand the depth of the story, not just the breadth of the story. Bob, when you think of our times of teaching together, and I don't know if this will be helpful, but you know, the things that you share connect with the things that I share. Mm-hmm. And is there a connection here for you from the transforming story that is a connector for what it is that you're sharing?
Well, I think there are several connectors. One connector is the fact that it's based on Scripture. It's not, you know, our story is not just a story. It's not like other stories. It is the story.
Yeah.
The
true story.
Truth. And other stories, other religions, other cultures have stories. They have their meta-narratives, but they're imaginary.
They're false.
They're fictitious.
Yep.
They're not what's really true.
Yep.
Where we believe that, and have been convinced by the evidence that we see, that the transforming story, the biblical story, is what really tells reality as it actually is.
As it actually is.
Yeah.
And it's not just a religious story. You know, I think a lot of Christians think of worldview as the story of my religion. It's the story that makes sense of everything.
It encompasses it's a story that explains what we see in the world today.
And it is that story that explains what we see in the world today that creates the framework for flourishing, for human flourishing, for the flourishing of societies.
What's broken and what it means to be healed.
To be healed.
And to flourish.
Yeah, exactly.